Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Here Be Dragons. I am your host, as always, Stephen Stark, and with me this week, my two wonderful co-hosts, John and Nessie. Nessie and John.
Hello.
You know who you are by this point. Well, unless you're brand new, in which case, Stephen, John, Nessie. Hi. We're going to be talking about Season 4 of the Clone Wars today, which I finished, I don't know, an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago.
I think we're all in the same boat. All of us
same time frame.
Till the last minute.
Well, you know, I don't have the best memory of stuff, you know, so I like to watch it. I did watch it throughout the week, but yeah, I finished the last episode, I think, about 2 hours ago. So,
and wow, what a way to leave off the season.
Yeah, right. Okay, so I'm going to go with initial thoughts. Nessie, you're in position 1. What did initial thoughts, season 4 overview?
Well, one thing that I think John and I both agree on is that this season seemed to be much more consistent in its story arcs, where they tended before to be a little jarring. This seemed to go much smoothly. Even the little droid escapade in the middle. Always have to have a droid episode or two.
Do we though? Do we have to?
You know, those guys get into some of the best trouble. You know, R2, he's the best. So
R2 is the best.
Yeah.
I do feel sorry for 3PO, and he's like, I hope to never be in these sorts of situations again. And not only do we know he's going to get into them throughout this episode, but we're like, oh, 3PO, you got no idea.
Right.
Lots of stuff coming your way.
Yeah. All right. So overall positive, though. Pretty good.
Yeah, and I will say, even though I obviously was rewatching it this time, season 4 for me is, even though there are certainly episodes outside of the season which I'm like, crazy about, I would say that season 4, as Nessie was saying, and what I told you guys last time, it has a consistency that I think it's got like the best stretch of episodes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And to the point, like, especially like once you kick off, with the, what am I trying to say? The Krell arc, and with the clones and everything.
The Moncal invasion.
Well, no, that's at the very beginning of the season, which we're going to talk about, because I actually quite enjoyed that. I think you weren't as gung-ho about it, but once it kicks off with the episode arc that's right behind you, Stephen,
with
Jedi Master Krell, right? I got you.
Like from there on through the rest of the season, it's just like banger after banger, and it's great. It just, like, I think that sort of stretch really, as much as like I went crazy for the back half of season 3, because that's phenomenal and there's like some of the best stuff the show ever did, but this is where the show really solidified for me. Like this is just fantastic Star Wars. It's like Clone Wars is an essential piece of what Star Wars is. So yeah, I'll leave it to you, my man.
Okay, so I kind of agree with you guys. I'm not as warm to the first 3 episodes, the Moncal invasion arc, as you are, John. For whatever reason, I didn't hate it, but I was just like, this feels like a side mission to me, and I'm not sure why. But it did. And then, Jar Jar, droids, I'm like, okay, well. But I'm like reading the descriptions of the ones ahead, and I'm like, all right, this sounds good. And as you say, when this guy right here shows up, like, this show kicked into high gear, and I loved it. Like season 4. Every season up to now, I've complained about the like, get behind the rock, figure out how to use cover, and by God, Rex finally heard me, and he passed it down the line to his troopers because they were using cover and concealment and ambush tactics and recognizing when they were exposed. Like I was just like, that gif of the guy eating the. I was loving it. I was loving every minute of it, and real talk. They've given the clones personalities and individuality in a way that they've never had before, and they've been doing that the whole time. But I vacillate back and forth between Rex and Ahsoka being the best character on the show. This season, I think it goes to Rex. He had my favorite sort of arc, my favorite scenes in the whole season. Which is not to say that other stuff wasn't amazing, but yeah, I really just fell in love with the clones this season in a way that I hadn't before.
I forgot how great the Umbara arc is. Like, it's just as you say, Stephen, the depth with the clones and their interpersonal relationships, and the dark places that it goes, and the end with Dogma is, and what he does, and and especially for me going back and knowing a lot of these clones much better than like I did, for instance, on the first time through. Like, I now have a firm handle on not just who Rex is, but like Fives and even Tup, who is the one with the longer hair and sort of the the hair tied back and stuff. Like, he has an important part to play later on, and so it was just really great for me to return to these episodes in particular and get to just revel in like how great all these characters are.
And they are to the point that I'm going to agree with Mist Man Jones here.
Yes.
The Aisha Ventress story in the very end of the season was fantastic. Like, I fell in love with that character in a way I hadn't been before. I always thought she was cool, but now I'm just like, nah, she got some stuff going on, and I like her a lot.
I absolutely like just I love her and Obi-Wan. It's great. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I ship it. Because just their banter back and forth, it's like, when did you become the good guy? Don't insult me.
Right.
It's great. I love the two of them, and I like some of the best stuff in this entire series is Ventress stuff, and actually a lot of her story. I think most of the Ventress episodes are written by actually Katie Lucas, George Lucas's daughter.
Cool.
So it's just it's fun that it's great that she became obviously so talented and had like the family the thing is carried on with because George was obviously spearheading this whole thing, but that she not only did the Ventress episodes, but she did a lot of other episodes throughout the series as well, and I think her stuff is actually some of the best written material. But yeah, it's she's great, and and just the fact that they tied like her in with the reemergence of Maul and all that, and like
all the underworld stuff, all the bounty hunter stuff, the plot line with Boba. We just keep seeing the plots are just interweaving the characters together so much better than we had seen in the previous seasons. Loving how we were introduced to Krell in the Camino arc with the ARC troopers, and you kind of got like a taste of what his.
Yep, hated him immediately. Hated him immediately.
Yeah, you kind of got his opinion on the clone troopers from that point, and you're like, oh, this guy, yeah.
I like how, well, because it's set up like it could very much be the cliche, like, you know, we as the audience think that this guy's out of line, and his methods are different, but it's all going to work out in the end. Maybe he'll sacrifice himself, to save the clones or something. But no. Turns out he is like completely against them.
Yeah, he was who we thought he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but it's also setting, like, he talks about like sensing what's ahead, and you get this feeling of what's coming ahead with Revenge of the Sith and Order 66 and
right.
and all that stuff. And there is a lot of like groundwork laid in this arc for that, just with Fives talking about, is that what you were programmed to think, and talking about their identity as clones and making decisions for themselves. And let's just say that going back to watch these episodes, having gotten to like the finale of the series, like a lot of this stuff I really picked up on this time through, and it's just brilliant.
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to add to that. Like, I hated Krell. I was served in the military myself. You guys know that's part of why I like pick apart the tactics and whatnot of the show. There were still charges across open ground with extreme friendly fire possibilities, but they were very low. And by the time Krell got there, I thought it did a good job even answering the question about why these were the tactics that were being used. Why are you just throwing men into a meat grinder?
Yeah, I got like big Hamburger Hill vibes out of some of his tactics.
Yeah, but like it's literally because Krell is intentionally throwing lives away, but he's succeeding on the field of battle, so he's not being questioned about his methods, despite the fact that he has, I believe, the highest casualty rate. I think is what somebody said. I can't remember who.
Rex, I think it was.
Yeah, and so the implication there,
I think it was
and also that's it's a larger commentary on how some people might view the clones as just disposable fodder. Who cares so long as you win the battle? They're just clones, so why not just let's not worry about how many we lose, just whether or not we win the fight. So there's like we hate Krell for those tactics, but all the while thinking that is actually what's behind it. The truth is he's actually a villain. So yeah.
A lot of good chat going on too. A lot of good ideas being thrown around. Potter agrees with you on the Order 66 thing. Like,
of course he does.
Right.
But I see a lot of things where we're still questioning, the value of the lives again in this war. Some of the droids are kind of given personality. In the little side quest, you have R2 repairing some of these droids that the Death Watch have been using for target practice. They came from the wars. They were battle droids and scraps and what have you that's been found, but they kind of had their own personality. And of course, we've fallen in love with the clones. We've found differences and personalities and quirks and true courage and their commitment to one another as well as the mission. So and then later on in this season, they're actually bringing up one of the Republic's blackest stains as their policies in the past that they've had on slavery, when they're having to come up against the slavers that took the Ahsoka's people captive. So we're talking about more value of human life, and what is a life worth?
Yeah, and those are the Zyderians.
The
Yeah.
Zyderians.
And I love the emotion we get from Anakin in those episodes, that he's like just really enraged, rightfully so. But I did want to just mention, because you really quick, Nessie, you mentioned the episode A Friend in Need, where Ahsoka helps Lux, and we see Death Watch again, and we get our first glimpse of Beau Katan, even though she hasn't emerged as like,
I thought that was who she was.
Yeah, she's just kind of a side character at this moment, sort of second in command. But this is where we first see her, and yeah. So there's much more to her the next time we see her on the show. So
yeah, she's not named at all in the episode. I don't think it's just this is just meta that we kind of can figure out that that's who that is at this point. And we also saw the dark saber. Yeah.
And it is actually funny, because back when I originally saw this, it was more of a thing like, oh hey, there's a female Mandalorian, and I recognize that voice. It's Starbuck. Little did I know that like that character and her performance would really take on such a life of its own and become such a big part of the Star Wars mythos. So it is kind of fun to see just her planted in this one episode, and to see where that goes. But because we're not even like I said, she's just like a second in command. We're not even aware of her connection to.
I mean, I recognized her.
Anything else?
I recognized her literally because I've seen The Mandalorian. This is my first watch of the Clone Wars. But I'm like, I know who that is, and I know how important she becomes. She didn't do much in this episode. She was just like a guest.
Which, and by the way, can I say, like, even though it doesn't say great things that she's going along with Death Watch and she's a part of it, but I was happy that she wasn't actually in the scene with the massacre of the townspeople, because I wouldn't have felt good about that, considering how much I come to love her character. But that said, she is still a part of Death Watch, and she's following Vizsla. So, it still doesn't say great things, but at least she wasn't directly involved in that. Right.
Oh, man. That whole Slaver arc, though, was really, I mean, it was interesting. And I like that. Okay. This is bound to spin into a larger conversation eventually, but like the methodology of the Jedi is questionable sometimes, and they really kind of dug into that this season, not just with the slave arc, but also with the Obi-Wan going underground in the criminal underworld undercover. Too many unders in one sentence. I got lost. There's and this is something that is not explicit in the movies, probably far more so if you read books about it or whatever, but the Jedi are wrong. I mean, they're the good guys, but they still get so many things wrong, and it's because of this strict adherence to an outdated dogma, which I'm not going to go too far down that path. I don't want to lose anybody based on that type of thinking, but they're supposed to be the good guys. Obi-Wan is standing by while bounty hunters are murdering guards and innocent dock workers. And I'm just like, I understand it's to protect the Chancellor, but like, why didn't you just get in, figure out who the people were, and then kill them before they put the plan in motion? You get what I'm saying? Like, I know he's not an assassin, but like, how many other people died when he could have just taken out Evil and Cad Bane after he gained a little bit of their trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's still the problem of Dooku, and would he just, continue on? And I guess the thinking was that the best way to stop any plot to kidnap the Chancellor would just to do it from the inside and just follow along with it. But I see what you're saying.
Right. Like,
Steven.
Show's not perfect. No show is. The thing is, I am really proud of them for how they are at least tackling big questions, and they are showing like the Jedi doing some questionable things. I was actually really worried about how Anakin and Ahsoka were going to react to the fact that they've been lied to about Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And
didn't take it.
This is planting all those seeds of Anakin's distrust of the Jedi. And that's, I've said it before, but this is kind of what the show does so brilliantly is it's like all the stuff that seemed, well, just say it rushed in Revenge of the Sith. Like, this show expertly really, builds up to it and lays the framework and not just, as you said, Ahsoka too. And that'll come into play next season. Sort of both of them kind of not always feeling like the Jedi are, as you said, Stephen, doing the right thing. They're very questionable in their tactics and their decisions.
Right. But you still get to see individual Jedi being very ethical, moral, upright members of society. Like, man, real talk, my favorite, okay, you've got your big characters, and like the characters that are in many, many, many episodes. But I've fallen in love with Plo Koon. I love that dude. I want to cosplay that guy.
That is Dave Filoni's favorite character.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And he actually, back, like, I think in the first year of maybe right before he was about to do Clone Wars, he cosplayed as Plo Koon at one of the Star Wars Celebration events. Yeah, like, as you say, he's not like one of the main characters, but he's a great, great character, great Jedi, and I like the fact that his James Arnold Taylor kind of took inspiration from Ian McKellen as Gandalf for his interpretation of the vocal performance.
But it works, man. Yeah. It works. I love that character. Just how centered he is. It seems like all the time, and how giving he is to the people around him. Like, Ahsoka's not his Padawan, but he treats her in a very almost fatherly way, in a way not even Anakin or Obi-Wan or Yoda does.
Yeah.
They've got that bond, because he found her as a youngling, and I guess he's always felt somewhat fatherly and protective over her that way.
Because is he the one that found her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Which we don't actually. Well, I think it's mentioned in an earlier season, and then there's a quick glimpse, in those opening segments where they show us little snippets as as we get the narrator, and in one of the episodes, I think dealing with younglings, that actually might be from an arc next season. I could be confusing because I can't keep track of all of it, but there's actually in one of those like early narration bits, there's a snippet showing him actually finding her as a cute little youngling. So yeah, I would love to, obviously Clone Wars is over now, so and I don't know that we would have gotten like a flashback episode anyway, but I'd love to hear that story, whether it's like in a book or something, Plo Koon finding little Ahsoka. and more of their relationship.
Yeah, because it's great. I mean, this like I kind of famously told you guys season 1. I was like, oh, when Ahsoka first appeared, I'm like, what is this? What is happening? But like real talk, she'd come a long way, and I get now. I'm just like, give me more Ahsoka, give me more. And when she shows up and she's just handling business, with lightsabers and okay, she is Anakin's Padawan, but like she's a full-blown member of the team. Like they don't treat her like she is a lesser Jedi really at all.
Yeah.
No, and I think after her alone arc in the last season, when she came back so purposeful and matured, and it was kind of like a change in their relationship, and now you see her doing. It's like nothing for Ahsoka to go off on a side quest now.
Yeah, like we have a mission. This is your job. This is your job. Ahsoka, this is your job. It's just as important and dangerous as everybody else's job.
Yep.
Like we're more kid gloves for her.
And this is why I'm so excited to get to this part of the show, just so you guys can really see her evolution. Because it's one thing to watch her in like Mandalorian season 2 as she's not technically a Jedi, and she says I am no Jedi, but to see her have all the skills of a Jedi, and I've both gone off camera and become Nessie.
That reminds me, I have to change my audio avatar just in case. There we go.
It's easy to get us confused.
Yeah, hold on, guys. Sorry about that. This is happening more and more. I don't know why. But yeah, just so you guys can really see Ahsoka come into her own and just become such a powerful force to be reckoned with. No pun intended. It's just great because it's easy to like point to either like her beginning where she's where, to be honest, Stephen, your journey has been most fans' journeys of like being like, I'm not sure about this, to oh my god, she's amazing.
It's good writing. It's good writing. It's good voice acting. Like
it's great character development.
Yeah, but what's great about like this chunk of the show, like especially like the back half of season 3 through season 4, and it's getting to watch her in the midst of that evolution. Mm-hmm. So and which is what gives you so much emotional attachment to the character, and like getting to see all this is what's going to make, like when we get to the tail end of the series and Siege of Mandalore, all that, it's what's going to make all that so great. And then also when you go back to watch season 2 of The Mandalorian, and carry all this, all the weight of her story and her character to that moment where we get to see her in live action. It's just there's a reason she's one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. And why Clone Wars has been such a big deal for me. And to think, because this all started, like Clone Wars came out in 2008, like everybody, and this is gonna sound like I'm making like comparisons or like it's a competition. It's not, but it's important to think of, like, there was such a big deal made about Rey as a character, in 2015 with The Force Awakens, but like you don't get there without like what Lucasfilm was doing with Clone Wars and laying the foundation for such a amazingly strong female character, and which is why like Clone Wars was kind of the best kept secret for so many years. It's like, just look what they're doing. This is so great. And so, yeah, I'm just so excited for you guys to be getting to see all this.
I just wanted to say, I just wanted to say I understand his like. I'm never going to hate on anybody for watching Aziz and Ashea do their thing. I love those guys; they're fantastic, but they go over sometimes, and I'm not going to hate anybody that's watching them right now. I love those two from the bottom of my heart. So, but thanks for coming by. And did we talk about Umbara already? We did a little bit. We basically heaped a bunch of praise on it. I said, good on the clone troopers for learning to use cover.
Which is funny because I feel like Rex and Fives and the clones are like, have internalized like Steven's messaging, and Krell is like is Lucasfilm being like, no, run out into the open.
Mm-hmm.
But
I have to say that their aim is much better than, future generations of stormtroopers. So clones are kicking ass.
Which, by the way, is why
actually hit a target and take cover.
Which is why, like, when you guys finish up Clone Wars, you gotta check out Bad Batch, because, like, on that topic, like, that's kind of what it's all about. Like the Empire was really stupid for ditching the clones.
I'm certainly looking forward to watching that once we finish up the season here.
And by the way, like, it's so funny for me to go back to like these episodes, because obviously the animation has grown leaps and bounds since the show started off. But like, it's funny because like I used to say, season 3, season 4, the animation starts to get so amazing. But like, having been watching Bad Batch, I'm now looking back on this animation and saying, I can see now where they've grown further. It's
right. Well, that marches on.
Yeah, exactly. So like, wait till when you guys get to like season 7 of Clone Wars and then Bad Batch, it's like they've been doing amazing stuff with all the technological advancements they've been making.
I'm looking forward to moving on to Rebels once I'm done with this,
Yeah. And I was actually wondering whether I should, like, this would have been cruel of me to suggest, and I actually did suggest it, and then I deleted it from our DM. Because I was like, I'm not going to make them do that. Like, I actually wondered whether to make you guys watch Rebels before going on to season 7 of Clone Wars.
I've considered doing it that way.
Yeah, I don't know. That's like, I'll leave that up to you guys, because there's advantages to both. I think that the narrative of season 7 of Clone Wars, there will be a lot that like comes as more of a surprise if you just go right onto it. But it's like, you could also experience it the way the rest of the fans experienced it, where there's stuff that happens in Rebels that is like trying to address all the stuff we didn't see in the canceled Clone Wars. So I don't know. We'll talk about it. But
well, if nothing else, I'd like to see the Thrawn arc, so I can like get that.
Yeah.
Well, like, I know there's some beloved characters from Rebels as well. Again, like, I consider myself a big Star Wars fan, but I have been largely confined to sort of like the movies, and I read some novels that are now legends. I haven't kept up. I had kids, career, all that stuff. I just haven't kept up as much, but I still am sort of like vaguely aware of the big stuff. Like, I know of things that are going to happen with Ahsoka that haven't happened yet, because I'm a Star Wars guy, and you watch a video, you hear somebody else having that conversation, like you through osmosis, I've picked up a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'm enjoying Clone Wars now in a way that I didn't enjoy even like all of season 1. Season 1 I did it as a favor to you, John.
I know. I didn't trust me. I know.
And then season 2 was like, all right, I think we were like, we need something to watch. I can't think of anything to watch. And John's like, let's do season 2. And I'm like, all right. And then it was a long empty patch, and we did season 3. And I was like, oh wait, this got good. And then season 4, I'm like, oh, it's still really good. So
Oh, yeah.
I think season 5 is probably not
picking up
too
steam.
far off.
Yeah, well, especially the way this season leaves off, you're like, okay, got to see what's coming next.
Right, and we are official. Oh, I'm sorry, Nessie, go ahead.
I was going to say it was really difficult not to click next episode, at the end of episode 22.
And actually, like, and it's funny how this is sort of our discussion is branching off into a lot of different places. I promise we're gonna, talk about some more season 4 stuff. But like, I just want to say, like, there's an arc of like Darth Maul episodes in season 5 that they actually moved like one of like the first episode of that up to the beginning of season 5 rather than holding it till later in the season because they were like, yeah, after the end of season 4, we can't ask fans to wait
that long.
That long until we like, dig a little bit more into Darth Maul. Yeah, because this is an anthology show. Because you get like batches of episodes. Again, no pun intended. And then like, as I've said in previous seasons, some stuff is not in order either. It's sort of just, telling individual stories from the Clone Wars and without necessarily there always being a direct through line, which has actually been one of the interesting things about watching Bad Batch. And you guys will see when you get to that, whereas that is a much more traditional, like linear narrative.
Mm-hmm. I understand Rebels is as well.
Yeah, Rebels is as well. Yeah. So
it's not trying to tell so many stories. It doesn't, it's not trying to, it's just concerning the clones, and that makes it, a lot easier than having all these other, divergent storylines.
But that's why I really like that they evolved into telling these like 3 or 4 episode arcs, because rather than just like jumping around every episode, like you get like a movie, and then another movie, and it's just a lot of fun that way.
It kind of blurs the line between television and cinema.
Yeah, exactly.
In a way that you do like.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
For those of you that may not have caught that was a subtle dig at John about his MCU hate. Because I think the MCU also blurs the line between television and cinema in a way that John doesn't like. All right,
but I'm going to start being less irritable about that. I've gone
You're
so
totally
far.
allowed to have your opinions. You're totally allowed to have your opinions, but like
I mean, it's your opinion, dude.
Yeah, just like your opinion, man.
Oh God.
Anyway, sorry, I totally derailed that conversation. But I agree with you. Like, I understand it's an anthology show. I think I'm going to prefer Rebels and the Bad Batch because of I love the long arc storytelling. Like, I kind of want to go back. Once I'm done with all of the Clone Wars, I think I kind of want to go back and do watches that are like the Rex watch and then the Ahsoka watch,
That's what I'm saying.
And also what I want it very okay. I'll just say to you, Nessie, I wanted very purposefully for when you guys were watching this to do it as the show, like in air date order, for the episodes. But there is also a chronological order for this show, which I'll go ahead and link you guys to, so that like, there's episodes in previous seasons that led up to the movie, and like last season with the whole Cad Bane, Braid Zero out there is, once you watch all that in the proper order, it makes a bit more sense and all that. So I will go ahead and get you guys that link. But for going through the show for the first time, I think it was important to do it, as released, even if it's a little wonky at
Right.
times.
I appreciate watching the order that it's come out, but I also once I have the whole story, it would be great to go back and just watch single characters.
Yeah.
I do want to address this. Could you guys do a Star Wars: The Old Republic a video on the lore? I don't think I can because I don't know it well enough.
I don't either, so I would probably not be the person for that. Although, funny enough, I just did a stream over on my channel a couple weeks ago with Lady Triple and her husband Brian, or Mr. Lady Triple, as
Triple.
Yeah. And he might, because he's very deep into Star Wars. But video games, as much as I was really into video games when I was a kid, they have not, I'm not an expert. So
yeah. I mean, I've played both Knights of the Old Republic video games, but as you say, it's been a long time. And as far as the general lore, I'm just not knowledgeable about it.
There's other channels out there that do it better than,
I mean, but it's not something I'd necessarily be averse to if I could find guests who knew, and I could just be the guy that goes, that's interesting. What about this? And I can ask the questions. Yeah. I would love to do that. That would be great. But
nice to marry.
I can't give you the lore on the Old Republic because I don't know it well enough. Not even close.
I don't know about you guys, but I agree with Phil. I love the character Cad Bane.
Him and that hat. He's got an attachment.
What? It's a great hat.
Exactly. He's they planted the old gunslinger right in the middle of the Star Wars universe again.
Great character, great character.
The head and the duster and the sidearm.
And that gravelly voice.
Bounty hunter.
Which I could be mistaken, and I don't want to break your guys' hearts, but this actually might be the last arc that he appeared in Clone Wars, but there was much more planned for him. But as a result of the cancellation, I think this might be the last time we actually see him. But with Bad Batch picking up so many strands of Clone Wars, I feel like Filoni is probably going to go ahead and pick up strands that weren't tied off. Ventress's story actually gets and we do see more of her, but her story is finished off in a novel called Dark Disciple, which I'm given that it's a full book, I don't think we can tie that into one of our discussions later on, because it's a bit of a tall order to ask you guys to read a whole book in a week for a stream. But
you're not kidding.
But I
John, I can't read. Stop it.
But I would recommend once we're through all the episodes, check out the book because it's a pretty vital piece of her story. But yeah, I would love to see Cad Bane come back in Bad Batch because it's like you guys saying, he's he's a gunslinger in Star Wars. It's just
I'd like to see Cad Bane come back in some form, maybe in the book of Boba Fett.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, can we fan cast Cad Bane?
I wouldn't know where to start, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts.
Oh, Jeremy Irons.
Okay. I'm here for that. I'm going to think about it.
Who was the guy that played the Goblin in the
Willem Dafoe.
Yes, Willem Dafoe.
I think he'd make a great one.
I was thinking of.
But I want someone, I don't know, I think I want someone who's a little more physically, not that Willem Dafoe couldn't, get there, but he's a gentleman of advancing age. Like I think I want
so
a
we
character
had Bane at this point in the story.
It's hard to say, but well, let's see.
Yeah,
Because
no,
Mandalorian is 9 years.
Because
It's
Boba
after
was a child, so now Boba would be an adult, and a middle-aged
but
adult.
and Boba ages at the same rate, so yeah, you're right. He would be actually quite old.
Yeah.
You're right because
Probably in his 70s.
because this hasn't 19 years haven't passed between episode 3 and 4 yet either.
Yeah.
Okay, so he would be actually quite old. Maybe we'll get him in the Bad Batch.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Why not both?
You guys haven't seen Rebels yet, and Filoni's ability for bringing back characters. So I would not put it past him to bring in characters that he wants to continue on their arcs for Bad Batch. So
that's funny though. That's funny. This Man Jones. That's a good one.
You seriously, I'm just glowing now with you saying that you want to watch Rebels now, Steven. I've got you hooked.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I've heard mixed reviews about the Clone Wars over the years, but I've heard people say, it gets better. But life is what it is. I watch a lot of stuff already, so it kept getting backburnered. But I'm really glad we're going through it now because I'm enjoying the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I want to talk about the Umbara arc a little bit more because I just love, obviously, we can rave all day about Rex, but I really love seeing Fives continue on just because just the fact that he started off with rookies in season 1 and and because of what we saw with being part of Domino Squad in the season 3 premiere and
it's
and Fives really kind of went on.
Fives is kicking ass.
Yeah, and
out there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that because his story is not done here.
Not done yet.
Yeah, but yeah,
now
there's
we
some
know
stuff.
these guys.
See now I know. I always give people grief about spoilers, and now I'm
yeah. Don't do it.
Let me talk.
Forever, all we knew about was Cody and Rex. Those were the troopers, the clone troopers that were familiar to everyone. They had names. They were part of the movies. Now we know these guys by names. We know their history. We know the things that they've been through together. We know why Fives is questioning authority. Why he thinks Krell might be out to get them. We've got a pass for these guys. They're not just nameless faces, numbers anymore. These,
and seeing Krell and seeing Krell refer to all of them by their numbers just made me so mad. I was like, "You bastard!"
Yeah,
and you can see how that really, angers them, and because they're more than numbers. And it's just great, and I love the moment where the
high orders.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Nessie, when when they're ordered to execute both Fives and Jesse, which we didn't mention. Jesse, he's also someone who carries on, and is a vital part of these sort of the clones that we come to know and love, and just the fact that they all miss their targets and throw down their guns, and and then Dogma's we have to follow, orders, which like is a big thing. This whole recurring thing to follow orders. That's gonna, that's obviously commenting on things yet to come.
That doesn't hint at anything.
Yeah, and then Rex is like, good luck finding anybody to follow those orders, because none of them will do it, and it just shows. But that's, and I can't talk about this because this plays into Revenge of the Sith. It's like so heartbreaking, watching clones express such individuality and such choice, and knowing that at the flip of a switch, they're going to be, killing people that they served with, and following these blind orders. It's absolutely heartbreaking, and why, again, I talked about, watching sort of Anakin's fall and Ahsoka's evolution as why the show is so great, but also equally so is, as we've been talking about this, really getting to examine and get to know the clones, and it makes them more than just like, the CGI doubles of the prequel films, where that's why, like, a long while back when we did the watch party on our Slack of Attack of the Clones, when the clones like descend down into the arena, both Mary and I were like typing out, "Ladies and gentlemen, the Grand Army of the Republic," because we love these guys so much, and so it just adds such another layer to everything. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, they're not just body doubles like we saw in the movies. We know these guys now.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart even more. I'm just waiting for it to get ripped out in a couple of seasons. I hate this. Oh, Potter, you troll.
Oh, Powder. Yeah, now we know Powder is actually Sidious in disguise.
Yeah. Well, another thing that's becoming more and more obvious, as especially in this season, is how Anakin is just drawing closer and closer under Palpatine's, circle, and how he's like just getting closer and questioning. Palpatine's making him question things, and not just Palpatine. He's just kind of like pointing out things for Anakin to think about.
Yeah, I mean that scene in the arc where Obi-Wan has gone, undercover, and when Anakin finds out what's going on, and Palpatine just, he digs into him, and he's, you must not ignore your feelings, Anakin. They are what make you strong, and just. They are what make you special. That's what he said. And yeah, it's just bit by bit, and it's so creepy when Anakin and Dooku are dueling, and Palpatine is just sitting back and smiling, and like,
yeah, like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Knowing this whole facade of his his assassination attempt. He's seeing him play both sides, against the middle. Like he's playing Dooku as, Darth Sidious. At the same time, he's playing Anakin, as Palpatine. This guy's a master manipulator. And like I said, butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. And he knew everything that he's orchestrating is to sow dissent. And he was never in a whiff of danger ever, of course. So it's just, God, I hate him.
And actually, I think this is a good time to mention, since we're talking about Palpatine. I don't know if anybody else knows this, but let me pull up the actor's name, actually, because
It's a good question.
Yeah, the actor.
I don't know that.
Ian Abercrombie who was also, you guys remember in Seinfeld, Elaine's boss, who like made her go get like the special socks and everything. That's the actor, which I just find so funny because I wouldn't have pictured him as Palpatine, but yeah, was such a talented actor, and actually he passed away before the show finished. So actually, you guys will notice be a little jarring, but partway through season 5, he's replaced by Tim Curry.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Nobody can do evil like Tim Curry. I love him.
So, yeah. But he does his own interpretation. So it's a little bit odd. But then, of course, like at a certain point, once they brought back Ian McDiarmid for A Rise of Skywalker, you'll notice, like, when you guys watch Rebels and some of the, later episodes of Rebels and, and then I guess technically in season 7 of Clone Wars, they actually take his voice from the prequels, but they start to have Ian McDiarmid actually do the voice of the Emperor in Star Wars animation. But yeah, so it's interesting seeing that evolution and the directions they went. But yeah, hats off to Ian Abercrombie because he did a great job as Palpatine for many years on the show.
We still haven't answered this question. Does Dooku know that Sidious is Palpatine?
Yes,
I think at some point he knows for sure, but I'm not sure what. And maybe he knew from the beginning.
Yeah, well, we know for sure that he knows, like, at least at the end, because
by the right,
because just the look that he gives Palpatine when Palpatine says, "Kill him, kill him now."
By that point, he definitely knows.
He's like, it's a big what the F look. It's like,
I'm still not convinced that he's aware of who he is at this time.
Well, if he isn't, we're never really given, like, information on when he found out. So I've just always interpreted it as he knew. But yeah, I guess that's open to interpretation. Definitely. I want to say, Yogi, I'm with you as well. Like, when I can't remember the first time I heard that, but I was like, huh?
What?
Yeah, like Star Wars got some weird names, man. But don't judge me by my name either. Anyway.
Steve.
Yeah. But you guys, it's 7 p.m. Eastern, or close enough. It makes no difference, which means it's time for the mid-roll commercial break. Yeah, and that's not the end. We'll be coming back with, we got at least a whole other hour of content, but stuff to be coming up. This is also the part where I go, hey, this is YouTube algorithm. Do the algorithm things, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. We don't just talk about Star Wars. We talk about all kinds of sci-fi, fantasy stuff, as well as nerd culture in general. Speaking of, next week, I will be welcoming at least one, possibly two, never-before-seen guests to the channel. And I don't think John or Nessie is going to be there because we'll be talking about my favorite pastime, which is mastering dungeons and slaying dragons. I'm going to have a couple of DM dungeon master people I know come on, and we're going to talk about what is a dungeon and dragon and why should you care and why should you be playing it.
I had no knowledge that you were a fan of D&D, Stephen.
No, I know. It's the best kept secret about me.
This is a shock, I must say.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Look at how shocked we are.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah, we're going to have a conversation about D&D and probably be having a couple more about it in the future. Some of my newer players have expressed a desire to come on and talk about their limited experience and the things that they're enjoying and maybe ask some questions. Anyway, yeah, so next week, D&D
John
talk.
and I wouldn't know anything about that.
Right. Given that you both play in a game with me. Anyway, so come back for that. I don't know what's the week after that, but, we've got stuff coming up.
Maybe some more Clone Wars.
Yeah, might do a retro review again soon. I've got a I know that nerd lined up with somebody nobody's going to guess who it is. Yeah. So that's what's coming up. Gonna shout out the patrons before I forget, because we do have a very lovely Patreon community. They keep the lights on. They pay for the streaming software that we use. All that money, like a lot of it went into prizes when we did our episode, our 100th episode. So thank you guys so much. Our patron high council consists of Lord John Bronsteen the Wise, Sixto Sounds, aka JP the Axe Grinder, and our alpha patron, ridiculous Ed Tollett. This guy right here. Love you, buddy. You're here week in, week out. I know you're probably just now getting off work or very soon, and you'll be driving home. So be safe as always. And our High Council is backed up by the lords and ladies of the realm, including Lady Leaf Underhill, Aemy Blackfyre, lover of poles, Ryan Stavka, the Russian quartermaster, and Reflective Rambling, who has requested no special name, but oh, I misclicked. This very talented artist lady right here, dude, she does fan art she's done fan art for my channel, for John, for Nessie, for Aemy, I've seen and just fantastic. So thanks to all the patrons for helping keep the lights on, so to speak. Nessie, what do you got coming up?
On the 19th of this month, that'll be Wednesday. We're negotiating timing, but I've got a great guest coming on, Cecilia from Geeksteria. We'll be making her inaugural appearance on my channel. It's been a while. I've been trying to get her on for a few months now, trying to pick a topic that might appeal to her, and we're going to be discussing gendered languages, which, as she is a native Spanish speaker, that is very much her jam. So look forward to having a great conversation with her. And a date to be determined after, because I'm going to be on vacation the first couple of weeks in June. So I won't be streaming. I may, of course, be on the channel with the guys, but I'm not going to be making any content on my own. Just going to take a little vacay. But after that, we're going to get the gang back together. Got some lovely ladies to come on, and we're going to be talking all about the beauty industry. So great lineup there. Our own the Blue Lemon Tree is going to be on. She's expressed interest. Got AK and Monaro on as potentially as well, and our good friend Jolie. So yeah, that's going to be fun.
Right on. That's it?
Yeah, that's all I'm looking forward to right now.
I mean, it is what it is. I know you.
I'm looking forward to vacation.
Me too. Con of Thrones sneaking up around the corner. We're all three going to be there, at least in theory, as of right now.
In theory, as of right now, we have a plan.
Yeah. So if you're able to make it to Orlando in early August, look me up. John, what do you got coming up?
Yeah, so things are a little up in the air at the moment because we obviously had a birthday stream planned for Aemy where we were going to talk about Mulan, which is like her favorite movie. Aemy has to take some time off for now, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing this week, but I think I will actually be doing it as a live stream, regardless of what it is. So yeah, I'll let you guys know what I decide on. Just go ahead and tune in at Saturday at 7 p.m. as usual, but I'll be live. So.
Right on. So you're back to live for at least 1 week.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I love the live episodes, man.
Yeah, so
I always do live. I love this format to death.
Well, also because between you and me, I can't stand listening to myself. So the Saturday night premieres have been grueling for me.
Yeah.
But Peadar, you lost your chance this past week to do the bingo cards because they will they won't work this week because I'll be live. So yeah, wish you done them now, huh?
Yeah, and John and I are planning to do a upcoming film very soon too. So we're shopping.
Yeah, I would love to talk about a movie with you too, John. Anytime, the thing is, like, I work on Saturdays and I get off. I literally am clocking out of work the same time you're going live.
Okay, well, we'll figure.
Well, so if you want me, we might need to push it back 30 minutes to an hour, but
we'll get it. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. So I think that's it for the mid-roll. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
No, never.
No. Well, like Potter, we're going. You know what, Potter? We're going to review that movie, you and me, on this channel.
No joke. Like I watched a clip from the beginning of the film the other night on YouTube. Like I haven't seen that since I was a really little kid, and let's just say it scared the shit out of me. I never want to see another frame of that. It was it was terrifying.
I don't think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But definitely, Potter. Time to put up or shut up.
Yeah, time to put up or shut up. Yeah, well, I'll find a spot on the schedule for it, Potter, and we'll do it. We'll do it, even if it's just you and me. Even if John don't want to have, if he's like, nope.
No.
Nessie, I know.
Right out of that one.
Nessie, I know you're every other week because of work, but like, if you want in, hey, you're in. You know it.
I'll watch it, Doc. I mean,
God be with you, Nessie.
Right. It's not a good movie, but like.
Oh man, don't think I won't just brag on it.
It's the first ever Marvel movie, though. It is the first ever Marvel movie.
It could be a classic that I just haven't discovered yet. I'm like fresh eyes. I have never seen it before.
Okay, well, I'm going to steer this conversation away from anthropomorphic ducks and towards a galaxy far, far away. If no one minds, no one will come. You're right. We'll be streaming it. It'll be 2 people watching, and it'll literally be me and Potter, and that's it. Okay. Star Wars. Star Wars, The Clone Wars Season 4, to be more precise.
So
that half of the season, definitely the better.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to argue that, but like, we haven't hardly mentioned Maul and Savage Opress.
I wanted to leave that for the second half.
Right,
we've got the stream, definitely.
We've got.
And it was so great how the Ventress arc just wove right back into Savage and Darth Maul. That was they're doing so much better. Like I just can't stress it enough how they're weaving these stories together, and it's just, they're doing such a fantastic job. And the seeds that were planted before with the last on the last season with the witches now born fruit. And speaking of fruit, we finally found out what was in those pods hanging in the creepy trees. I was like,
we did. Zombies.
What are those things? What is this? And then it was like, and I'm like, oh, it's zombie witches. This is the best.
It was so cool though. Like, and they didn't get the brain style zombies.
No, they got
they got the 28 days later run straight at you full tilt zombies.
Yes, they got the upgraded version.
Yeah.
And they were just badass. Like everything that having to do with the witches and the Night Sisters and Dathomir, I'm just like, oh, this is probably my favorite place now in the Star Wars universe. It's just, I love that creepy planet so much now.
And by the way, like, I just have to make a side note. Like, when I saw Solo in theaters and Darth Maul, appears at the end of that like, first of all, it was enough that like I jumped out of my seat just the fact that they brought in Maul for that bit at the end of the movie. But when he mentions Dathomir in Solo, like every part of my brain was going off. I'm like, holy shit, they're actually like full on embracing all of the canon. Like I've gone on in the past about how I'm kind of like, you know, as far as like my thoughts on canon, like I think all stories should be appreciated whether or not they're part of like official canon or whatever. But like in this instance, it was just so nice to see that that the films were going to be embracing like even the animated shows. You know, it was sort of validation that all of this stuff really is important and that it's just as important as you know, the live action stuff. And it got me so excited about where Star Wars would go from there. Little did I know that, you know, all the stuff they were going to start to do on television and, you know, with the Mandalorian and now coming up the Book of Boba Fett and Ahsoka and all that stuff. It made me so excited. And it was just the mention of that word Dathomir. And so, yeah, the fact that that immediately evoked not just, oh, it's Darth Maul again, but it's Darth Maul with all the baggage of, you know, what transpired in this show. And so, yeah.
I gotta say, I didn't love insane spider leg Maul, but like, okay, it's a dark place, weird, but like, I'm here for the robot chicken legs. Those are cool.
What I do like about it is that it's like that's what Maul was able to conjure through like sheer rage and use of the Force to, you know, allow him to get around. So like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm more fond of when, you know, as Maul becomes more and more of, you know, humanoid again, but I think it's a really creative way to show like how he's, you know, what his existence has been like ever since.
He's a trapdoor spider. He has become just a predator on this decimated planet.
Yeah, and it's not like I hated it, not at all. But I was just like, that's creepy. I'm kind of, you know, pretty fearless person in general, but I am arachnophobic. Spiders creep me out quite deeply.
Oh yes, that's why you really didn't like it.
Yes, you're right.
Gave you the willies. But I think you guys are bearing the lead on like the most fascinating part of all these episodes. Maura Lee. No.
Was that the snake guy?
The snake.
Okay.
Snake guy. Also a dark side creature. Confirmed. Right. But
well, yeah, I'm not surprised. He was in fact a snake.
And when he was doing the creepy spider running around stuff, he really reminded me a lot of Grievous when Grievous goes into his like crab form that he has and just kind of scuttles all around. Like it's efficient and everything, but
I got Shelob vibes off of him, so I was
big
like,
Shelob vibes.
No.
Big. Yep, big.
And just like hats off to oh god, why is it I can never remember names when I have to remember them, but every minute I'm fine. Sam Witwer, who does the voice of Maul, like you know,
like he's only in 2 episodes, but man, so good.
Yeah, like he very quickly like took the reins as the voice of Maul. Like, and that's why I was really happy again talking about Solo when they had Ray Park, you know, playing Maul, but they brought in Sam Witwer to do his voice, and I was very happy about that because he has, you know, he's become Maul for so many fans, and that voice is just so good. And just to see him go from like that madness of Spider Maul and you know and transform and you know the more reserved Maul, but still full of rage in even the last episode of this season, but then seeing, where he goes with the character from here as the character gets more sort of methodical and scheming. And it's...
Well, like the season ends with him saying, I can be patient, I can wait, which is already like hugely different than he was than literally the episode before. So I feel like Maul is back, baby.
Yeah. He's learned from the best. He sat at the feet of the greatest schemer in the galaxy, and he's learned some stuff.
You got Steven, you and I are so in sync. I was just about to click on that.
Right.
Savage learned what he did from Dooku, but Maul learned from old Palpy. So I'm looking forward to see what shenanigans he's going to get up to in the next.
And I love what he says. He's, when Savage says, the Clone Wars, and Maul is like, so it's happened, and it happened without me. It's like he was being groomed to be a big part of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so much of his arc of being sort of left behind. And
it's even stronger, probably because of the rage and hatred he feels over that. Because that's what feeds the dark side.
Nobody has explained to me though how he made it off of Tatooine. All on the half shell. How did he get?
And actually, Nessie, it was Naboo.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Savage finds him on this trash planet, so I guess the inference is that he just got thrown out with the trash.
He's been, quote, thrown away. The imagery is not lost on me that he's just been tossed aside like so much garbage. In this episode we hear the term junkers for the first time, which was not gonna, it's like plays a part in the sequel movies, but he's just literally found in this flaming pile of garbage. So, you kind of get where he's coming from. Thrown on the trash bin.
But I cannot just say enough, how pleased I am with the way that, because, and it's funny because I think if they had done this as say Filoni was completely in charge of the show on his own and his group of writers, and they had said, we're going to bring Darth Maul back, I think there would have been a lot more skepticism on the part of fans, especially with the way he's brought back initially. But this did all spring from George Lucas, because he is the one who basically, these are, the show is all his ideas for stories to tell. And so I think Filoni talked about when, George just all of a sudden says, at the end of the previous season, and it reveals Darth Maul. And it's like Darth Maul's coming back. And apparently everybody in the room was like, oh my God.
How are we going to do this? I'll just find him on a junk planet. It'll be fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I agree. I'm thirsty for whatever's next for that character, and I'm really glad to hear that they've got an. I understand, as you said, it's more like a full arc, but they moved the first episode of it up in season 5, so I'm looking forward to that. And Savage, he's similar to Maul in a lot of ways, but they are still distinct characters. Like Maul, I think, is much more powerful in the Force, whereas Savage is just physically so much more of a specimen. Through the transformation that he went, where he just, he grew to 7 feet tall and got super buff.
He took the super soldier serum.
Yeah. See, it's all interconnected.
Right.
I will say, his relationship with Savage will be very interesting season 5, and I'll save my thoughts for that. But I'll just say that it starts the ball rolling on like what is a major piece of Maul's character arc. Starting off with his relationship with his brother. But yeah, to follow up on what I was saying, though, I'm just so happy that they brought Maul back and what they do with his character, because for so many years it was like you had this great villain for episode 1, and as much as like I personally love the Phantom Menace, and and a large part of that is everything with Maul and the duel at the end of the film, Duel of the Fates and all that. But there was always this sense of, man, they could have just taken this guy so far.
Great character.
And they bring him in to Clone Wars, bring him back, and they make him great as a character, greater than I ever could have imagined. So I just cannot wait for you guys to see what's ahead for his story. It's going to be great.
Tune in maybe a month or so. I think it's not going to be that long before we get to season 5. I'm in it now. I'm invested in the story. I'm invested in the characters. Kind of want to just keep going,
Yeah.
But we'll see where it falls on the schedule. Nessie, I know you're having a great time with it too. So kind of want to make sure we line up with your weeks to be here for that. So
yeah, because you actually weren't here for season 2, as I recall, and that bummed me out.
We'll do better.
Yeah.
But I'm really, really enjoying this so far, and I'm just I can't wait to A, get to the end, but B, I'll be sad because I'll want more content. Which thankfully they're going ahead and giving us some. So
yeah, which I have to say, like, another slight divergence for a minute. Like, Rebels is fantastic, especially once it gets going. So you guys are gonna love that. But like, even when they brought like Clone Wars back for a final season, there was a part of me that was like, oh, but we're only getting 12 more episodes. Can't you give us more than that? But what they've done with the Bad Batch now is like taking everything that was great about Clone Wars, sort of from from the animation standpoint and from kind of the types of stories. And now narratively, they're moving it forward into like new territory. So it's like I've gotten my wish. Like, it might not be exactly Clone Wars, but it's definitely
basically Clone Wars.
Basically. So like, just for me on a personal level, it's great that what I fell in love with this show is now continuing on in an even stronger way. And I will say, I think Bad Batch has kind of, from what I can tell so far, it's a show made for the fans who grew up watching Clone Wars. So, it's only a few episodes in, but as I said before, it's narratively more linear, and I don't foresee like like droid episode style divergences.
Right.
we'll say.
I'm not here to hate on the droid episodes. I will say they are my least favorite part. I'm not a big fan of the Jar Jar episodes, but like, Star Wars is a big universe, and when this show was coming out, it was basically the only Star Wars thing happening. So they were trying to please every Star Wars fan to some degree or other. And that includes 5-year-olds, and that includes 55-year-olds, or people even older, people who have grown up with them, people who are just discovering it. Some people's first Star Wars was probably the Clone Wars, their introduction to the world.
You can pretty much tell that the first 6 episodes of this season were geared more toward the younger audience.
Yeah,
even the Mon Cala episode, that was like, the prince. He's a young guy. He's a kid. He's leading his people in this, to fight off the invaders. So it's kind of more like a younger audience centric.
And that's the thing. This show was there's always been kind of two audiences for this show, it could be the same audience, but like they were always trying to cater to like two sides. You know, it's like on the one hand you've got the more kid friendly episodes that I think you get with like the droid and the Jar Jar episodes, and even perhaps the Mon Calamari, you know, and then you've got like really dark
right
and deep diving into the mythology and stuff for obviously that kids can still enjoy, but they're obviously making them for, you know, for like diehard Star Wars fans too. So in a way, this show has always been kind of like tug and pull, and you even see this in season 5. Like I was telling Nessie, there's like a smack dab in the middle of the season, there's a 4-episode arc with a bunch of droids that is completely bonkers. And it's, of course, George Lucas's favorite episodes of the series, which everybody just kind of rolls their eyes when he says that, because of course it is.
Which season is that in?
It's in the next season.
Okay.
It's so get ready for a big droid arc. But
now, aren't they going to do like just a series with the droids with?
There was a series called just Droids, and I think they might be bringing it back. But there wasn't it wasn't CG animation. It was like late 80s. Like
they are doing something droid centric though coming ahead that I think it's going to be animated. Yeah, I don't know many details about it, but like, and that's fine. Like if the whole
there was a droid show.
Yeah,
there was a droids animated show, but it was a children's show.
Yeah,
I want the droid arc between the end of Clone Wars and A New Hope. I want the adventures of R2 and 3PO when they're, you know, after they've had their quote unquote mind wipe. So give me that episode. That'd be great. Put them on a freighter with some pirates or some junkers or I don't know, strand them somewhere.
I will say the droid art next season, it's one of those things where just give into it. It's loony and it's, you know,
it's another wacky misadventure, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's goofy. Just go with it. And 3PO actually isn't in it, but R2 is.
Okay.
It's actually a group of like some different droids that we haven't seen, led by the great general or Commander Gascon, who, you know, I'll leave you guys to discover him for yourself. But yeah, you'll be rewarded on the other sides of the season with some more hard hitting stuff. But it's fun. It is.
Droids are like a palate cleanser. You know, they throw the droids in there. They're comical. They're zany. Like, what's R2 gonna get into this time? You know,
I'm going to watch it because it's part of the show.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it. Real talk. Like, I've not loved a single droid episode. Some have been better than others. You know, the ones from the season, I was kind of just rolling my eyes. And I'm like, all right, it's not terrible, but like, it's not my favorite. And the thing is, I actually love R2 in deeply. Like, okay, I'm gonna show you guys something real quick. That's inside my computer. I got an astromech droid. Oh, hold on.
That's right. I've seen that before.
Yeah. So I've got a little R2 inside my computer in case something goes wrong. So I love R2D2, and I really do love C3PO. But in this show, 3PO is like, he's like freaking Mr. Magoo. Like, he blindly stumbles through everything.
Well, yeah, 3PO in this show is much more the Attack of the Clones 3PO than the OT 3PO.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, he gets better. Something happens, man. He gets that mind wipe. He gets He gets better.
But I will say, yeah, no, I'll just steer clear. I was going to talk about, like, you just mentioned a character that comes back next season, but we're going to get to it soon enough, so I'll just let you guys be. But there is some really great stuff in season 5. Steven will just have to suffer through the droid arc.
I'll be fine. I'm sure. Like, no physical pain will be had. I'll watch them. I'll probably laugh at parts of it, and then at the end I'll be like, well, I don't need to watch that again. Is where I think I'm going to be at. Like, I'm not going. Like, when I talked earlier about when to go back and do a rewatch of, like, Ahsoka or Rex, or pick a character. And I ain't doing a 3PO or Jar Jar rewatch. Let's just say that, okay?
I think the one episode that that I enjoyed, the droids side piece, was A Friend in Need, when he's off when R2's off with Ahsoka, and he does have that little not confrontation, but that interaction with the other droids in the repair tent. R2 is like, it's not like he's the eloquent communication droid that 3PO is, but he really emotes how bummed out he is that he's being asked to put these droids back together so that they can get blown up again. And, you can just kind of, he's able to emote that, which is, I think, great for R2.
That's a whole, like, I love Star Wars. Everybody knows this, but I have my criticisms of it, even as a whole. And one of the things is the way they treat droids, like they're sentient beings, but like they're not sentient beings. Like, I think of L337 from Solo, like wanting to be a revolutionary and lead her people to freedom, but like it's almost played as a joke. I think Star Wars has a complicated and unclear relationship with what a droid is and is not. And sometimes, like they're programmed to feel pain, for crying out loud. Why?
Yeah. Why do that? And R2 is special.
Yeah, they are a subjugated slave class, I feel,
You
anyway,
see that episode of, the Death Watch, the disdain. They have like an even higher level of disdain for the droids, it seems. And that carries over into the Mandalorian, how he had his hard line was droids and working with droids and dealing with droids. So you get that carryover, the prejudice, I guess, of you can work side by side with them like they do, the mech droids, but these others they have no say in what happens. They have no say in programming. It's not their fault.
Like, it's convenient to just mow down battle droids, but like when one of the droids that we like is threatened, they're all of a sudden they're a sentient being and don't hurt them. They don't deserve that.
Well, actually, Nessie and I were having a conversation about this. I've really come to have a great affection for for the battle droids in this show, just because like they seem like, again, you just said like why make droids feel pain, and also it seems like the battle droids are given enough sentience to like have like fun interplay with each other enough so that we can feel sorry for them. Why do they have these little personalities? Why are they designed that way? It just seems needlessly cruel. I always feel really sorry for like every time see one of the battle droids go like, oh, I guess I'm in charge now, and it's like I kind of feel really sorry for them because they're not even aware of completely what they're doing. They're just sort of going about their job, and
they're trying to do their job.
Yeah, well, but they're programmed to feel the pain anyway, and like fear. They display a fear reaction when they, like okay. I'm just going to change gears because I think it's like a thing. This is one of like the few true criticisms of Star Wars I have, is that they have not addressed in the main canon like droids and their role, and are they sentient, are they not, why, like there's a lot of unanswered questions there. I'm going to leave it at that though, because there's still more stuff about the season to talk about. Like we barely touched on the slaver arc. We mentioned it and we haven't really talked about it.
Well, we can dig into some more slavery if you like.
A different kind, but but I really, you did, John. I wanted to reiterate the same thing you did, seeing that growing rage in Anakin when he's forced to kind of work alongside them, and also the complicated situation that Obi-Wan finds himself in, where any kind of defiance brings pain and suffering to someone else.
Yeah, all with the calculated determination to break them.
Mm-hmm.
This is done with malice of forethought, how to best destroy the human psyche. They've been doing this for generations, and they're masters of it. They call it what was it when one of the slaves was being disruptive or whatever, and the queen was saying that she needed to go back for some like more conditioning or something. It wasn't the exact turn of phrase that they used, but you knew what that meant. Was.
Well, yeah, and you see the reaction of the slave who says, "No, I won't go back,"
and then she jumps
to her death.
She jumps. That's like that was kind of deep. That was rough, and yeah, Star Wars got pretty dark right then.
The thing is, this season had a lot of dark stuff.
But it really does. It's kicking over the rock that is our preconceived perceptions of what the Republic was, that we got from the OT. We kicked it over, and we're just seeing all the worms crawl out, the seedy underbelly of what was going on under the watchful eye of the Republic. Even before she became chancellor, this was common practice in areas of the Outer Rims. The companies would have used slave labor to
and this is what's driving the planet. And this is exactly what's driving the separatist movement, this notion of the Republic being corrupt, and both the Republic and the Jedi having let things like this fester underneath the surface.
Right. Like the Jedi can be generals in a war, but they cannot stop a practice that is abhorrent.
Even when they can't even rescue a slave that's like right there.
Right Shmi. There. Yeah, Shmi. They can't. It's like an either or situation. They can't interfere. They can't do but so much. But yet, they can be generals and command armies of clones. For the Republic. So it's stinks.
Well, and not only that, but they can be spies as well. They're supposed to be peacekeepers. And infiltrating a slaver ring and like the slaver arc, I'm more forgiving of. Like, they're trying to take down slavers. That's a good thing. They're using deception in order to do that. I think that freeing slaves from bondage is a peacemaker's job. Those people don't have peace, and it is the job of the peacemaker to make peace for them.
Well, I think the only difference between the Kadavo arc and say what we saw in the prequels was where in the galaxy's in the Republic sphere of influence that was, because it says they said in the storyline that these particular slavers had been crushed by the Jedi long, in the past, and this is a practice that they're trying to revive, but it's closer to the centers of power, and it's within the quote republic, but it's in the outer rim area where there's less influence, that the slavery in the huts, when we're in hut space, so to speak, where they had this is just common practice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, there are definitely limits to the reach of the Republic and thereby the Jedi's power, and I get that. But
yeah.
but like, and as I say, I can be more forgiving of going undercover in the slaver operation than I can in what they did with Obi-Wan, sending him undercover with Cad Bane and Evil, his first name I can't remember, but the lizard guy, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And Boba, like, I'm gonna put some little respect on that kid's name now. Like, he impressed me. He impressed me.
And especially like now, having seen Boba come back into the story in The Mandalorian, and now he's getting his own show, it's all the more interesting for me to watch his early days. And this, I mean, before he was just like yeah, it's cool seeing the young Boba Fett, but this is the guy who dies by falling into the Sarlacc pit. We lost Steven. Maybe he had butterfingers again.
But did he though? Apparently he didn't.
Don't ask. I don't know.
But now there's like, I'm so much more invested in Boba Fett as a character that it makes watching, his appearances in this show all the more intriguing. And like, I'm just so excited for the Boba Fett show, guys.
Right.
It's gonna be great.
I mean, this is where Boba's making his bones. Dad's gone. He's got the ship. He's got to survive on his own with no family and whatever. And he's just a kid trying to make his way. Of course, he's got all his quote father's contacts. So, we see Bosk, from which is that one little action figure that everybody had to have, but nobody, he just had the, Empire.
Literally just one of the cool bounty hunters standing on the bridge of that Star Destroyer in Empire Strikes Back. That was all he was.
That was it. Now we're like, oh, this is Boss. This is that guy. Okay.
Dengar too.
Yeah, the Hammerhead guy. They're all there. They've all got a pass now. So
again, like, this is a great season. It really was. We can talk more about the first three, like, because we basically skipped over the Mancala stuff altogether. Do you circle back to that at all?
Like, I just want to say, getting to see Kit Fisto doing his thing, like, I absolutely loved. And I don't know. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think I remember hearing that this arc, that they pushed it up to the beginning of the season to give to open it up with a more action-packed arc than otherwise. I don't know what would have opened up the season otherwise. Maybe the Jar Jar episode. If that's the case, they definitely made the right choice, I think.
Or the George episodes.
Maybe, yeah. But no, I mean, I had a lot of fun with it just because it's a different environment than we typically get. I enjoyed watching the underwater, combat and again, I'm going to say Kit Fisto again because it brought to mind. You guys haven't seen it, but the old 2D Clone Wars micro series that came out after Attack of the Clones.
I've seen some of that.
Okay, but before Revenge of the Sith, like one of those little episodes was, the first time we got a glimpse of Kit Fisto like underwater with a lightsaber and everything. So this brought my mind back to that, and so I got a kick out of that, and I don't know, I enjoyed, the ideas about leadership and watching the young was he a prince or the prince like coming to his own, and I liked the the antagonist of it,
the shark guy,
the shark guy, which I enjoyed him.
He was kind of intimidating for sure.
Yeah, so even though it didn't it wasn't like as deep into like sort of Star Wars mythology, or as digging into the character arcs of some of our our main characters, I still enjoyed it, and I actually think that while it may not be one of the best arcs of the show, I think it's really entertaining, and I thought it was a good start to the season.
Oh, you beat me to it, Stephen.
Oh, did I click too fast for you?
Oh, I was about to tap on that one too.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And also the fact that we get a lot of our heroes in that arc too. It's a fun, Captain Akbar, and there's a lot of our heroes. We get Anakin, Ahsoka, Padme.
They all have stuff to do.
Yeah.
This was the first one I feel like Ahsoka was treated fully as just, I said earlier, she gets to be a full-blown member of the team. And it starts here in this episode, or in this arc.
It's arc.
She has stuff to do. My biggest complaint about this whole arc is actually the final fight between Sharkman and the Prince, whose names I can't remember. Sorry, there was more. I've slept at least twice since then. But like, there's this huge battle raging all around them.
Prince Lee-Char. Lee-Char.
Yeah, that's it.
But there's this huge battle raging all around them. But then somehow they meet just in the ocean with no one else around them, no blaster bolts going on. I'm like, how? How did you find each other?
But that always happens in
I know, but
movies and stories.
Like, we just don't even see, like, they just are suddenly face to face, and I'm like, you could have done a little more work on that, man. But it is what it is.
Got to keep it under 30 minutes, though, Stephen.
Yeah.
It's like I just think of like movies with like big battle scenes, like like The Patriot, where you got like Mel Gibson and what's the actor's name? The villain from that film. Like, there's battle happening all around them, but they're to meet in the middle of the battlefield.
Wasn't that Lucius Malfoy?
Yeah, Jason Isaacs.
There you go.
His name, yeah. But like, there's a type of movie and story where the hero and the villain are always going to meet in the middle of the battlefield and have it out.
That's not my problem. It's the hero and the villain meeting in a vacuum. Like, there's not even like, when they're fighting each other, you cannot tell that there's a battle going on around them. It's quiet. Okay. There's no laser blast flying by from beneath. Like, there is nothing happening around them. It's just those two, like on a quiet side street. So that's my real problem. But yeah, okay. But the rest of it wasn't bad. As you say, there was a lot of cool design things going on. The shark people were cool. We got to see Gungans not being the worst.
Right? Gungans to the rescue, man.
Right. I mean, here's the thing.
They didn't have this time,
I just want to say, like, it's like we've got one side of the show where we got like Darth Maul going, "I have been driven by my singular hatred of you," and we're like, yeah, let's this is deep
Do
Star Wars. Let's get into it. And then you have another side of this where Jar Jar is outsmarting General Grievous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did actually enjoy seeing the planet, where the Mon Cala and the other species that shares the planet with them. I did kind of like seeing their society a little bit because we visited again in The Mandalorian. And it shows how there were, the two species are sharing the same planet. So
Misa Boss Leone.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't get clam chowder in this episode, but it was still cool.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're kind of down to just the last few minutes. So, chat, I'm going to throw it to you and say if there's anything we haven't touched on that we just must do it now. John, Nessie?
I want to know what, and you guys may have already mentioned this, but just as for final thoughts, which arc did you guys enjoy the most this season?
Umbara.
I'll probably have to say the same with the Slaver arc coming as a very close second. It just, as they all just blended into one, really, for me. Yeah, just that whole, those two arcs. Even though it's hard for me not to have love for Dathomir too, because it's like, like my favorite place now in the Star Wars universe. So, damn it. Yeah.
I can go with Umbara over like the Dathomir arc only because like I know there's some really great Darth Maul stuff to come, so I can save my vote for a later season.
Everything from Umbara onward is great, but
yeah,
for me it's Umbara, Krell, the clones, especially watching Rex do the Rex things without an Anakin or an Ahsoka, or he is the lead character in that arc in a way that he's never been before, and I love it.
Because he's cut off from everybody else. He doesn't have
right here.
He doesn't have Anakin or Ahsoka or Obi-Wan, because that's who he's used to being with. Now he's kind of left on his own with that asshole. So it does he does become the center focus.
And this is why, like I know, like back in season 2, Rex only had one episode where he was sort of essential. I think it was the episode where he finds the deserter, and that's a nice little episode. But I remember at the time, Stephen, when you and I were doing that stream, you were like, Rex didn't really have much, this season, and it might have been hard at the time for me to when I was saying Rex and Ahsoka are the heart of this.
I remember you saying that. I clearly remember you saying that.
Yeah, and I think with arcs like this, you really see that coming to fruition. Obviously, things jump around to many different characters over the course of this show, but I think as you go along, and especially by the end, it's it's really obvious that they are Clone Wars, and the Umbara arc is one of the best of the entire series. I think just because, as you say, it's Rex as the central character and the clones, and it's just I think I said this before, but I forgot how good this arc was. Before I sat down to rewatch it, and it's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm not seeing anybody bring up anything in the chat. I think we covered pretty much most of it. Because to me, this was you had 3 episodes that was Mon Cala. You had 3 episodes that was Jar Jar and droids. Then you had, so that was 6, and out of 22 episodes, that leaves 16, right? And then those were each broken into chunks of 4. And it was Umbara, then the slave, then the underworld, and then Asajj and Maul and Savage and all that. And I really liked the way they did that, which you pointed out, John. It's like a movie, and then a movie, and then a movie. I mean, a little more episodic than a true feature film might feel, but
Yeah.
it was. I really appreciated the way they sort of like it's not one episode, and then a different
Exactly.
episode that's completely disconnected.
It's not Planet of the Week.
Right.
Thank goodness. This
It's
is
Planet of the Month,
Planet of the Month.
which gives them time to settle into the story, to draw out thematic threads in a way that you can't do in 22 minutes.
Yeah, I think something that when I first started watching the show, which I think I did because I bought the Blu-ray set, it was very obvious to me watching those season 1 episodes, like, you had a self-contained story within like 22 minutes, and then bam, the credits roll, and they felt very abbreviated and fun. I enjoyed watching the first season, but when they started to expand this out into taking their time and these 4-episode arcs and allowing you to dive deep into the characters, I mean, that's when the show really came alive.
Well, I really felt it this season. Best season so far, in my opinion.
Yeah. Same.
Even though
even got like a little voice snippet, if you guys caught it, of Snice Noodles in this season.
Yeah. Where are we going next, lady?
Where are we going?
Which, by the way, I have to say, in the Umbara arc especially, I don't remember exactly what they were, but there were a lot of lines like pulled from like the Star Wars films and stuff. I can't for the life of me remember what they were, but I was like, oh, I recognize that. That's like a Han line. Or
got a bad feeling about this.
But yeah, it's a really great season. There's some, like I said, there's fantastic episodes in the seasons to come, but I really do feel like this is the one that
don't tell me that it's all downhill from here.
It's not.
No, I think it's like
it's not downhill, but I'm just saying, as far as like they get the softer episodes like out of the way in the beginning of the season, and then it's like all hard hitters throughout. The like season 5 is a bit more sort of not fractured, because there's a bunch of it's the same. It's like there are larger arcs, but like I said, in the middle of the season you got a droid arc, so it's not like it's not like this season where it's built and built and built and built.
Right. So what you're saying is that like maybe the like week to week consistency isn't the same as it was in the back half of this season, but it's as good. Its heights are still as high.
Yeah,
I'll take it. That's fantastic.
I'll just tease you with the fact that there is big Mandalore stuff coming.
Okay, cool.
So,
well, we've been introduced to the Death Watch up close and personal, so I'm assuming we're going to see some more of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know some stuff like just again through fandom osmosis about Beau Katan and Satine and like when we get Beau Katan in. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been sneezing today. That's why I've been going off camera some of the time. And I feel one coming on, but now I got stage fright. You know how it is. So like where she is now versus how she sees Din Djarin, when she meets Din Djarin, she's like, oh, you're one of those, child of the Watch. So clearly she has a falling out. Haven't seen it yet. I actually expect to see it in the Clone Wars later seasons, or possibly in Rebels. Like I expect to see that.
We're gonna see something. I want payoff. I want the backstory. I want to see where all this came from. And I think I appreciate the Clone Wars more now having watched 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, and seeing how these characters have a future, I'm just like, I feel like I'm more vested in it than I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were talking to me, Nessie, about how you've got like Clone Wars shirts, and
I've had
in your shopping cart and stuff. And I'm like, yes, because like for everybody who didn't see it, I'm wearing my Ahsoka and Rex shirt, and
Yeah, I'm not, but like I am at least sporting some Star Wars merch.
Well, I mean, original crawl. So we all got our Star Wars. We all have our Star Wars.
Yeah. I want to comment right here. One thing I will say about season 6 is that it's an unfinished season, which is why it's got some phenomenal episodes. I will say, I actually think, because there's some great stuff, especially regarding the clones. I think most of the episodes actually are pretty great. There's a couple in the middle that are kind of, so. There's a Jar Jar 2-episode arc. I'll just say
obligatory Jar Jar. Like, you're only giving us 6 anyhow.
But there's a really great clone arc and an out of this world Yoda arc.
Oh, nice! Love me some Yoda. Yoda only ever said one bad thing in his life.
Yeah. So season 6, actually, I think for the most part is really great. It's only like 12 episodes at a time, when a full season of Clone Wars was like 22 episodes. It's basically, originally it wasn't even a season. It was called Clone Wars: The Lost Episodes, because it was basically whatever they had finished after they were canceled. So actually, I was talking with Nessie about this. When we do season 6, I'm also going to have you read the 4-issue comic series that continues Darth Maul's story, because that's actually crucial to understanding where he ends up in the final season.
I will read the comic book.
I've already purchased them, John. They're on my Kindle right now.
And plus, I think it'll be good to be able to talk about that arc when we do season 6, to sort of flesh out our discussion a bit. So
right on. Well, y'all, it's 8:00 Eastern. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm always hungry.
Yeah, that's my secret. I'm always hungry.
Gotta keep fitting in those MC.
Yeah, love you, buddy. But yeah, I guess, I mean, that's as good a place as any where, speculation about season 5 and whatnot. I am looking forward very much to more Ahsoka and more Rex. That's what I'm really wanting to see, is more of those two. What about you, Nessie? What are you most hyped about for season 5?
Okay. Just one, how the political arc is going to tie in with how we're bridging these movies together. So I'm looking for politics. I'm looking at, I want to see more Asajj. I really want to see more of the dark, steamy underworld. The bounty hunters, Boba, Cad Bane. I've really enjoyed this, because this is like the only place I've seen it, and it's great. Really, got to see where Darth Maul is going. Looking forward to more of the Mandalore arc. I want it all, man. Just like right here, just put it right in there. I'm ready. My body is ready.
Are you guys ready for more pirates? Sorry.
John, I'd ask you what you're looking forward to, but you already know what's coming. So, and you're doing your best not to spoil us. So, just can you?
I didn't say like what I'm looking forward to without the spoiling, because because there's great stuff ahead. I'm looking forward to rewatching Darth Maul, Mandalore, and Ahsoka. Just say Ahsoka.
Okay.
I mean, she's a constant. We're seeing this kid grow up, and it's just phenomenal. So she's the constant.
Yeah.
what is she gonna do next?
Awesome. All right. Well, with that, I think we'll just kind of move to the to the end, post credit scene. Um, John, what's coming up next week? We don't know yet, but we're doing a live stream.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I will be live. Maybe I'll just talk directly to you guys. Maybe it'll be an AMA. We'll see. I'm gonna nail it down, and I'll let you guys know. But yeah, Saturday at 7.
Yeah, don't forget to let Kelly know that she's going to be on.
7 Eastern. Just Eastern USA time. Nessie, something coming up soon for you on Unspun Yarn.
Yeah, we've got some BTP coming up on Wednesday with gendered languages. So our good friend of the channel, Cecilia, is going to make her intro onto the Unspun Yarn. Look forward to that.
Ceci's great. She's great. Love that woman. Awesome guest. She's been on here, Be Dragons, a few times. And yeah, next week, me and a couple of D&D buddies are going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons and why you should play it. And so I hope you come back for that conversation. Yeah. But I think that's it, everyone. I'm going to go find some food. But until then, you guys, you know what it is. Peace and be excellent to each other.